All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash, and double honor to the apostles and others of Great Millstone. Peace, love, salutations, and blessings to the house of David, which is the elect, right? Coming back with another Sabbath sanctuary lesson, episode 30, Salaki, episode 35, entitled Don't Let Go of That Crown. All right. And, of course, this is what we all are, striving for, right? The reward, that comes with the service, which is our reasonable service of, making our calling and election sure, receiving that crown of righteousness, right? Hearing those words, well done, my good and faithful servant. And as we are, getting closer and closer to that day, right? That of that reward, we know that it's going to become, more and more, strenuous, right? More trials, more demons, right? Going to be, trying to, knock brothers off course, right? Of course, you got Satan. I mean, Esau, right? And the physical counterpart of Satan, doing what he does, right? Saying in the world, Satan's always busy, right? So we always got to be busy as well, right? We can't, get lackadaisical, right? We can't, think that we already, got the reward, right? Because as Paul said, take heed unto yourselves, lest ye fall, and that's something that you got to constantly be doing, right? When you with brothers, when you're not with brothers, always examining yourself, right? Always, looking yourself in the mirror and seeing where you can refine yourself, because when that time comes, right, when that day, as Yahweh Shai said, when the night cometh when no man can work, it's going to be just everything that you put forth. That's what's going to be on the scale, right? It's going to be your works and your faith, and there's no redos. There's no, let me go try again. So we already have what we need in order to receive the crown, right? We have the faith, we have the names of, the Lord Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. We have the truth. So no matter what, right? This the straight gate, right? This hour of temptation, the Jacob's trouble, right? These, like I said, these demons, that be fucking with you. All right, you gotta hold on, hold fast what you have, as Yahweh Shai said, right? Actually, we can get that first um in the book of Revelation 3, Revelation 3, verse 10. I start at 10. It says, Red letter Yahweh Shai, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. Now, this is a popular scripture, all right, and is speaking more and more volumes as we get, closer and closer, because this word of the Lord's patience, Salakia, the word of the Lord's patience is, the this understanding in the truth that we have, right? The repetitiveness, because you got people that fall out because they just look at this as too repetitive, right? Or nothing's, it's been saying the same thing. But that actually goes to show your actual true belief in this word, right? And it shows your dedication and your endurance, right? When you can constantly do something over and over, it's like working out, right? When you work out, the first day you go into the gym, you're not going to, see results, right? The second day you go into the gym, you're not going to see results, but you gonna feel the pain, right? You're gonna feel the soreness, right? You gonna feel all those things, but you actually not gonna see the results yet. But the results come as you're consistently going, right? And the consistency in it is what really a lot of people lack, right? They lack the discipline to be consistent. And this is why Yahweh Shai, said that, because you have kept the word of my patience, right? I also will keep thee in an hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth, right? So this time, right, as we know as the that time with this charagma, right, that great testing of everybody, right? Everybody faith is going to be tested. I always say, people claim they have faith in their gods, or they have faith in their money, they have faith in themselves. Well, all of that's going to be put to the test, right? Everything that you believe in that can sustain you, that can save you, the Lord is setting up a scenario where all of that is going to be put to the test, and He is going to see who and what can actually save. And we already know it's only Yahweh Bashem Yahushua that can save. That's why, He speaks about that they pray to a God that cannot save, right? And he's speaking about his own people, right? That they pray to gods, right, that can't save. So, so verse 11, it says, "Behold, I come quickly. Hold fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown." Okay, hold fast, meaning to hold tightly, right? Don't let it go, no matter what. Not even if it's a death, right? Strive for the truth until death. Not even death. Not even your family. Nothing should be able to get in your way from your crown of righteousness, your crown of salvation. And only person that has that, only person that can give that to you is Yahweh Shah, right? That's why he says the my reward is with me to give every man according to his work shall be. All right, but y'all got it.
Yep. Hey, Shalom, Makim. I got a quick precept to land back off the Zaquan. This is it right here. Hebrews 12 and 13. Actually, I'm gonna get it in NLT. Just bear with me. Hebrews 12 and 13, and it reads, okay, mark out a straight path for your feet, so that those who are weak and lame will not fall but become strong. Okay, in the KJV, and make straight paths for your feet, lest that which is lame be turned out of the way, but let it rather be healed. So making straight paths, all right, that's going into the straight gate, the position of difficulty, all right, and the one path that leads to the crown. There's not many paths that leads to the crown of life. There's one path, and that path is in Yahweh Shai through his blood, all right, the sprinkling of his blood, all right. And reading on, it says, "Follow peace with all men and holiness, without which no man shall see the Lord," right? Follow peace, okay? And we want to be peaceful amongst each other, and we want to be, as peaceful as possible, even with people that we deal with in the world. All right, to where we have an A1 credit, an A1 report with even people that don't know what we're a part of. You see, all right, holiness, all right, and also being set apart. Okay, without which no man shall see the Lord. Okay, so without these certain aspects that the Lord is describing, we're not going to see the Lord, right? And we want to see him. We want to meet him, in the air when he comes. We want to meet him on that big chariot when he comes, when our Lord Yahweh Shai returns. All right, and this is the point here: looking diligently. Okay, looking diligently, lest any man fail of the grace of the Most High, lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble you, and thereby many be defiled. All right, it says in the NLT, watch out that no poisonous root of bitterness grows up to trouble you, corrupting many. And again, the nature of our flesh, certain bitterness can rise up and overtake us, but we want to be able to stay locked in and stay laser focused on the prize. Okay, and it is a glorious prize that's awaiting us. All right, immortality, a kingdom, dominion. All right, through the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, we say go, the heathen move. All right, these are all things. Every man wants power, but not every man is willing to sacrifice in order to get it. And who's the greatest example of that? Yahweh Shai. And the power is over death that he accomplished, man. He already accomplished it. So it's not like we have to go in and it's like, oh, maybe we're going to get it, maybe not. It's written that if we do these things that the Lord prescribed, that it is a promise at the end of it. It's not shaky. It's not, well, maybe, we say Lord's will because we know that the Lord can spew us out. So it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. But if we do the things that's prescribed in the scriptures and continue to follow Yahweh Shai, there is salvation guaranteed at the end of it. Okay, if we maintain and continue in these things, that's why we say Lord's will. Okay, so we have to continue on and be diligent. And when you go into the word diligent, if a brother could pull it up, and I'll give it to the next brother. That word diligent, the definition. All right. Well, I got it. I'm gonna read it. If you want, you can pull it up. But it says diligent, having or showing care and conscientiousness in one's work or duties. So that don't just mean you do something day in and day out. That means you're doing it and there's a conscientiousness. And that word conscientious means the quality of wishing to do one's work or duty well and thoroughly. You know, you're thorough, you know, meticulous in how we teach this word of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All right, brothers hold classes, brothers edify each other, brothers are constantly speaking about the scriptures, reminding each other, exhorting each other, because we're in these troublous times, man. We're in these, you know, wicked, evil days. And if not the spirit, then what else is going to deliver us, man? If not being in the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, what else is going to deliver us, man? That's our only way out of this situation. All right. So we have to have a certain conscientiousness of wanting to do quality work. When somebody's building a house, okay, if you're off by a little bit on that house, don't you know that the whole house could be not level, and eventually that can lead to problems later down the road where the whole house could collapse, you know, or it'll start to lean to one side. So the house has to be the measurements has to be on point, okay, and that starts from the foundation, and that starts with Yahweh Shai and the men that He ordained. All right, so we want to be conscious of what we're doing in this truth in order to do our work thoroughly and do it well, do it continuously, and do it carefully. All right. But that's all I got for now.
Hey, Con. Oh, you got it, bro. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I was going to say through the spirit that even the Apostle Paul, all right, he pretty much set the example that we're supposed to follow, right? He said, after all that work that was done, he said that what my crown is laid up for me, right? In other words, that's like the finish point, right? Just like Yahweh Shai said on the cross, he said, "It is finished." All right, and he was taken into his glory when that happened, right? So we also have to get to that point where we can finally say, "Lord, it is finished. The mission that you gave us to come and accomplish has been accomplished." All right, and then ultimately, it starts with the downfall of America, Babylon the Great. When we see this place burning up, that's the end of the mission, because we came here to speak about this place being destroyed before it actually happened. Okay, so all these things that you're about to see, it ultimately culminates with the coronation. That's a beautiful thing, the coronation of the elect. Okay, and I have a quick precept here. This is the book of let me see real quick. This is the book of where is this at? The book of Second Ezra, chapter 2 and verse 42. It says, "I, Ezra, saw upon the Mount Zion a great people whom I could not number, and they all praised the Lord with songs." Okay, and pretty much that vision, that visual, is also written off in the book of Revelation, the 7th chapter. All right, it goes into the 12,000 men from each of the 12 tribes that were crowned, okay, as kings for the next kingdom to come. Okay, the 12,000 out of each tribe making 144,000. Those are the kings that are going to be ruling upon the face of the earth. So, Lord willing, we are a part of that number if we see all this throughout. Okay, like Yahushua said, "He that endureth till the end, the same shall be saved." Okay, so it says here, verse 43, "And in the midst of them there was a young man of a high stature, taller than all the rest, and upon every one of their heads he set crowns, and was more exalted, which I marveled at greatly. So I asked the angel and said, Sir, what are these? And he answered and said unto me, These be they that have put off the mortal clothing and put on the immortal." Okay, and quite literally, when Yahushua comes back, the Apostle Paul says that this mortal shall take on immortality, and this corruption shall take on incorruption. Okay, so therefore, that the spirit of death, all right, or the concept of death will be no longer in existence amongst the men of Israel, starting with the elect, the 144,000. Okay, so it's a precedent that starts with Yahushua, and it passes on down through the rest of the 144,000 elect, then goes on through the rest of the nation. Okay, so it says here, he answered and said unto me, These be they that have put off the mortal clothing and put on the immortal. So it's going to happen quite literally. Okay, I believe in First Thessalonians, the 5th chapter. I mean, First Corinthians, the fifth chapter. It talks about when Yahushua comes back, and he's going to make that calling, And when he makes that calling, we're going to be changed. All right. This corruption shall be changed into incorruption, shall be changed into immortality. Okay. So that's what we're waiting for. 15, Salakia, 15, verse 50 on down. That's right. The water. It says, and put on the immortal and have confessed the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Okay. I did a lesson, which went up this morning. You got these people who, you know, especially with IUIC and all these other clowns, right? They downplay the names of Yahweh Yahweh Shai. And a true man of the Lord, right, who knows the concept of the power that we serve. I mean, we're talking about the God of our ancient forefathers. You're not going to downplay a name like that. Okay, a name that was taken from us, which then made us weak for these other weak-ass heathens to take over us. And now that we have those names that brings us back to who we are, you going to downplay that? What the hell is wrong with these niggas? Right? It goes to show you that the Lord didn't send these men on the right-hand side. He sent them on the left-hand side to take out those that he doesn't want. Okay, the undesirables, the rebels, the ones that the Lord's like, look, man, I'm not dealing with this wilderness situation no more. I'm not saving everyone. I'm only saving the elect. The rest, niggas, the niggas that want to rise up and play, send IUIC, send ISUPK, send Sakari to go talk to them. All right, because that's what they want. Right? When you go to IUIC, you're not going to do nothing but rise up and play. Right? You're not going to really, first of all, you're not learning the name of the Lord. They teach you all kinds of wayward doctrines. They tell you the MOTB is sitting in all its various forms, both political and religious, all kinds of shit they say, right? That you can, you can have sex on the Sabbath. They teach shit like that. What is the Sabbath? What day is the Sabbath? What is the new moon, the full moon? All these different things that they say, all right, goes against the truth, the actual words of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Okay, they put Bitch Nate as like a god, like whatever, man. It's gonna get me tight. Let's keep going. It says, and have confessed the name of our power. Now are they crowned and receive palms. Okay, and the crowning, when you go into that word crown, I believe it goes into a Greek word Stephanos. All right, which means right? It means Stephanos, which when you go into it, it pretty much represents a diadem, right? A diadem is like a mitre, right? That we put around our heads, okay? But in the kingdom, we're not going to be wearing mitres. We're going to be wearing actual crowns. We're going to have a crown on our heads, okay, as kings and priests, okay? So it says here, then said I unto the angel, what young person is this, or is it that crowneth them and giveth them palms in their hands? So he answered and said unto me, it is the Son of God, whom they have confessed in the world. Okay? So when you look throughout the whole entire world, who are the only people on this earth that actually come out openly every single day and profess the names Yahweh Yahweh Shai? It's only the true men of the Lord that do that. Okay? Everybody else, they got their own little thing. Niggas say it's Most High in Christ bless. Niggas say it's Christ. They just say Christ, right? They don't even say the name of the Lord. They just say Christ. Like Christ just means christened or anointed. That's it. But what is the name of the anointed one? What is the name? What is his name? Okay. When you have an angel, the Lord sent angel Gabriel to come and tell Yahushai's parents what his name is. That's a monumental thing. You can't just take that lightly. I don't understand these niggas, bro. Like a name that was given from the heavens. The Lord says, this is his name. This is what he's going to do. This is who I've created. And he has a mission. And this is his name. You got niggas, oh yeah, we can just call him whatever you want. You know, that's Israel for you. All right. It says, then began I greatly to commend them that stood so stiffly for the name of the Lord. Then the angel said unto me, go thy way and tell my people what manner of things and how great wonders of the Lord thy power thou hast seen. Okay, so Ezra recorded this. All right, this is something that was recorded, as in he saw it in the future, but he's talking about it in the past. But it's our future that we're about to live out, if that makes sense, right? Ezra seen the prophecy, he's seen the future. The angel telling him, go thy way, go tell the people what you've seen. Okay, but what you've seen, when you say seen, that means it's a past tense. Okay, to see means present or future. Seen means the past. So for Ezra to be given something that's in the future, but he's seen it in the past, that's even something in and of itself. Okay, but that goes to show you that ultimately Revelation, the 7th chapter, going into the 144,000, that's something that's yet to happen. And like we always say, you got the right hand side and you got the left hand side. somebody got to fulfill these prophecies. Somebody got to fulfill these lots. Somebody got to play the role. So if you got people on the left-hand side, or in this case, you got these other camps, these other reprobate groups, as we call them, that don't want to call upon the name of the Lord, okay, they're not going to be the ones Ezra is seeing. Ezra is only seeing the men starting from our elders and apostles of Great Millstone on down. They're the ones who call upon the name of the Lord, okay, sincerely and wholeheartedly. Those are the men that are going to get that crown, man, okay, that crown of life, all right? Because remember, this is Yahushai's kingdom. And if anyone is not going to proclaim him and say, yo, that's the King of Kings coming in, you're not ushering in the name of the Lord, you're not ushering in his return, his advent, when he comes back, what the fuck, like, what do you expect? He's going to just, oh, you know what, it's all good, you know, let's just make, you know, let's make amends and let, you know, you're just going to be on my right hand now. Nah, he got beef with you, okay? Because you knew better. That's where you get the concept of there shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. You get the concept of the servant that knew better, and he's going to be beaten with many stripes. You're going to get all that, man. You're going to get all that. We're going to witness all that. Okay? So, you know, we see all these things, man. Like, yeah, of course, it gets frustrating because you're coming from a different spirit. But ultimately, we have to understand that, look, man, somebody got to play that role. And we're just glad that it's not us that playing that left-handed role. Okay? So the crown is very, very important. All right, I get one more, and I'm going to pass it.
Glock, real quick.
Yeah, you got
it. I think the brother Ayash got to go at 7. So I was gonna say maybe if he got like he could get a few words in before he just.
Yeah, Khan. What I have here was the book of Ecclesiasticus 12, and it's like let me
If you want, I could pull it up
verse
for you
5. Khan,
because I know you.
12 and 5. So Ecclesiasticus 12 and 5. Baruch Chef, you could read that, you know,
I got you.
and then
Yep.
that's just to back up Haran's point, you know.
Khan, this is Ecclesiasticus chapter 12, verse 5. It says here, "Do well unto him that is lowly, but give not to the ungodly. Hold back thy bread and give it not unto him, lest he overmaster thee thereby. For else thou shalt receive twice as much evil for all the good thou shalt have done unto him." That's the one?
Right. Yeah, Khan. So, you know, pretty much the wise the wisdom in this is that, you know, you don't suppose you ain't supposed to be chasing a wicked person around and try to do them good when you know for certain they're gonna try to turn around and stab you in the back. And I believe you know, when Haran was talking, I even thought of the book of Exodus, where it talked about how when the Mosai delivered them from Egypt and brought them into the wilderness, they turned around after 30 days of a prophet of the Lord not being with them. They turned around and they said, "These are the gods that brought you out of Egypt," right? They gave the glory of Yahweh Bashim Yashai onto these other gods, right? And, you know, hearing Haran talking about how even the name of the Lord, he even said, he said, "I scorn when I hear that name," right? They actually hate the name of the Lord, right? And so the, the Mosai is not a fool, right? And so if he's where wisdom comes from, then on this time around, as it even talks about in the book of Second Ezra, the 7th chapter, he said this time the wicked ain't gonna be saved with the righteous. You ain't gonna have someone like Moses, where the Lord said, "Oh, that's how they want to do it. Check this out, Moses. I want to kill them all and start it off with you." And Moses prayed, and they were delivered. But this time, the Mosai ain't doing the same thing anymore, right? That's pretty much the scripture that came to my mind. When you know someone is ungodly, when you've sent your prophets out there that have been consistent from the very day that they were called onto the very end of their life, when they kept preaching the same message over and over again, and they kept pushing it out as much as they can, as often as they can, as creatively as they can, and they still won't hear it. Well, now only a remnant is being delivered. Like Haran saying, the only people who get the crown are those who stood stiffly for the name of the Lord, not those who are doing wishy-washy, not those who put one foot in, they were proclaiming it and then step back, then hop right out, right? Those who stayed, right, who got into the work and kept their hand on the plow and kept working until the master gave them their reward, you know? And that's pretty much what the whole idea is. The whole point of keeping your crown is, as even the wise virgins, right? It's one thing to be called into the marriage. It's another thing to say you want to go, and it's another thing also to begin the journey. But the point in which you please the one who invites you is when you actually make it to the wedding. When you actually get through the doors and sit down and he sees you and he congratulates you, right? So that's the whole point of, that's the whole mindset, right? You don't want to be a fucking ingrate where something that's good is given unto you and then you turn your back onto the Most High. You want to be the one where the Most High is pleased to always do good to. Oh my God, yo, that's what even the scripture says. That the Most High is, he forgives an obedient son, right? An obedient servant. That's who we want to be. We want to be consistent and pleasing the Lord and keep putting one foot in front of the other until the very end where we make it and cross that finish line. And yeah, that's it on that.
God, it's like I know you were in the midst of your point, Haran, so you can finish.
Yeah. Come the water. Yeah, I was gonna say. I was finishing off. Actually, I was gonna pull up this precept here. In the book of Isaiah, chapter 62, and verse 3, it says, "Thou shalt also be a crown of glory in the hand of the Lord Yahweh, and a royal diadem in the hand of thy power." Okay, and I was just thinking of that precept. The whole concept of that crown is not just just having a crown on your head and now you're a king, but also think about it as it's a reward. Okay, a reward for the work that we did, and that's why Yash just said. And when you go into that word reward, okay, it says here, it says that the noun version of the word reward says, it says what one deserves. Okay, it says return or payment for service. Okay, and it says here, the sense of sum of money in exchange for capture, or a criminal or a fugitive, or for return of a lost item. Okay, now for so long we were considered lost, right? The lost sheep of Israel and lost tribes and so on and so forth. But through Yahushua, him being the redeemer, right? He's the one who's going to be as the ransom for us to be brought back. So an indication that these are the ones that Lord I brought back, as in the Lord's cluster. Remember the Lord's cluster, the special ones, the remnant. How do you identify who the remnant are? I'm going to give them the crown. That's the differentiation between them and everybody else, right? That's the differentiation. That's the reward, or slash. Here it says the return of a lost item. So the identifier of who my cluster is, who my special ones, I'm going to give them this indicator. When a man gives a woman a ring, that's a form of marriage, a form of commitment, a form of you and I are together now. That crown over the elect's heads, starting with the men, all right, the 144,000, that is the Lord's indication of you are mine. I've officially brought you in, right? Now, like Yahushua said, ultimately we're going to be joint heirs with Yahushua. So it's a form of a reward for the hardship, for the work that we did, but also an indicator of who we are to the Lord. So it's more of not just, like I said, not just a reward as in, okay, you've done your good job, here you go, boom, now you're good to go. Nah, it goes deeper than that. It's like, this is me indicating that you guys are special from everybody else. I put that crown on you. It indicates, because that crown is not just made out of gold. And nah, imagine what that signifies. Like, anyone on this earth will see a man of the Lord, any one of the 144,000 members of the elect. When they see the crown on our heads, they're gonna be like, "Oh shit, that's one of God's men." Like the Apostle Paul, always says. He says, the prophet is God's man. That crown on your head is an indicator of this is God, one of God's men. Oh shit, that's one of God's men. So it goes way above, and that's gonna be for eternity. That's an identifier for you being one of God's men for eternity. That crown on your head is like you transition from how Babylon is to how the kingdom is, right? Yahushua comes back, the bride and the groom, and we being the bride, him being the groom. He's gonna give us that indicator that yes, you are finally mine, and that's gonna be that crown, that coronation, like that assembly, that wedding, that get together, that marriage, so to speak. You see what I'm saying? So I was just thinking about that. I said, that's that's deep. Now it says here in the verb, it says to take notice of, right? So the Lord has finally recognized our work, right? It says to regard, okay, to watch over, okay, to guard, to perceive. It says a form of requital or good for service, okay? So all these things all culminate to us being regarded by Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, hence giving us that crown. So the crown is not just a completion of your work, as in, okay, Lord, I've been validated, but also an indication of who you are to the Lord. All right, who are these men? Oh, these are the Lord's men. Like that's a special category in and of itself, you know. But I just want to add that in there. You brothers got it.
Yeah, even the book of Psalms said it about the what the crown represents. He said, "People I have not known, even reverence." So that's what the blessing of the Lord does to you. You know.
You got it, Shalom.
Yeah, I just wanted to add on to what the brother Aaron was saying. He mentioned the word earlier about finish. Right now, I'm gonna use a carnal example that happened. Yeah, it was yesterday. If you watch football or just in general, right? You had the Giants and the Broncos playing, and early on in the game, yeah, see that face that Elder Tazon just made, yeah, exactly. But if you watch that game early in, like I think of the first quarter, it was 19-0, and like the brother Aharon mentioned about what finishing. Now I remember I wasn't home to watch the game, but I remember watching the highlights, and you would think like, okay, it's a simple game, and 19-0, the Giants is easily gonna win that. But then as you go through the quarters, what happened? The Broncos started coming back. So, and then yeah, the Giants did make some plays where they got back, but then at like late in the fourth quarter, the Giants did come back, and I think it was like 32-30, if I'm not mistaken. But then the Broncos won at the end, 33-32. So it's a 1 point difference. But it shows you that, like the brother was mentioning, that you have to finish. You have to play all 4 quarters. You can't just think, oh, okay, it's an early on lead. We got it. It seemed like a blowout. That's when players usually, that's why, like when I used to play ball, they would tell you got to play all 4 quarters because you don't know when the team could come back. And like in this example, they come back and beat you. Now you got the coach taking his headphones off his head and slamming it on the ground. The quarterback over here, like, because they can't believe. But at the end of the day, you could only blame it on yourself because it's like, yo, how do we have such an easy lead? We were winning, but then at the end, we come back and lost the game because, like the brother mentioned, that word finish. You didn't finish the game. You got to finish the course. You got to go the whole way through. You can't just play the first quarter and the second quarter. Now you got to play all 4 quarters and win the game. Same thing like the Super Bowl. I think it was a couple of years ago when the Chiefs and the 49ers were playing. At a certain point, that defense started to get lax and start to ease up on the Chiefs, and then the Chiefs came back and won the game. Not the recent one. I think it was the first time that the Chiefs and the 49ers played in the Super Bowl. So like I was saying, that word finish, you got to play all 4 quarters. You can't just play 1 quarter and think that you're going to win. You can't think that whatever works that you did early on is going to carry. Now you got to bring works all the way through. And then another example where I had another point when the brother mentioned about how the elect are pretty much special to Heavenly Father. They're like different. If you look at as well in football and whatever sport that you may pay attention to, in football they have the gold jacket, and that gold jacket pretty much like immortalizes those players because these players now enter something called in football the Hall of Fame, where yeah, we got regular players, but you guys are a special group. You guys are the Hall of Fame, where they even get like the sculpture of the face. I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but they have a sculpture of the face, and then I'm pretty sure their name goes down as something of the Hall of Fame. So essentially, in that, you have every player that comes to the NFL, and yeah, they have their stats, their names is put down the Hall of Fame. Their name is there forever, but you have a special group of players, which are the Hall of Fame, that no, these are the higher echelon of players, the Deion Sanders, right? The back in the Emmett Smith, Larry Allen, right? Michael Irving. If you watch sports, these are a different caliber of players. These are a special group that have really devoted their lives to this game. That's why they pretty much, what's his name? Lawrence Taylor's another one. This is a special or more special group of players that have really devoted their lives to the game. That's why they are known more as like the top echelon of players, that Hall of Fame caliber type player. You got other players, yeah, that come into the league, yeah, they're cool, but this is another group of players. So just to add off of what the brother was saying.
Yeah, Khan, definitely. And just as brothers have been mentioning, the importance of that crown, right? Keeping in mind that even in the race, right, or the for example, when you look at the Olympics, right? The Olympics, it's interesting because you got to first get into you got to qualify, right, to get into the Olympics, right, or anything of that sort. So to even have a chance at getting whatever medal it is at the Olympics, because it's such a big deal, about who everybody cares, you got to first make it in there. That's step one. And when you look at the condition that we are in right now, the Lord gave us that first part already, right? Like there are what, close to 9 billion people or so on the planet. And of 144,000, imagine what small number that is. And the Lord already put you in there, right? He already put you in the category of being an Israelite. That's 17 other nations you've already beat. Okay. On top of that, he put you in the category of being an Israelite, of one who understands, right? You can receive this word. That's, if you in America, that's 2/3 of the nation of Israel that you've already beat right there. Okay. Possibly. So all that's really left is for you to just run the race. You know, the Lord is already, when it says hold that fast which thou hast, if you have the crown already, all you got to do is hold it. You know what I'm saying? You just hold on to the thing. You know, it does not like, oh Lord, I gotta jump and catch. No, you got it. Hold on to it. So if at this point you get to Yahushua and you can't present it to him, then that's on you. He's gonna say, yo, what more could I have done for you? I gave it to you. That's your ticket to salvation. You dropped it. You know, that's nobody else's fault but yours. It was in your hands. It was in your grasp. So what distracted you? You know, and the thing about holding, when you watch some of these like endurance TV shows, it looks easy, right? Like you watch like Survivor, for example, and it'll be like, oh, hold on to like the little pull-up bar thing, right? And then the person who lasts the longest wins. It looks easy until your grip starts loosening, because the longer you have to hold with that same strength, you got to focus more. Right now, it becomes a mental game. In the beginning, it's like, oh yeah, I got this. But when you start getting fatigued, you start getting tired, the house flies start flying in your face and shit, right? Then you got to lock in mentally and keep on telling your body, use energy, hold, tighten the grip, tighten the grip, tighten the grip. So when it comes to holding fast the crown that the Lord has, bestowed upon us, or at least given us the chance at winning, it's about focus. Okay, you have to continuously focus. You cannot get to the point of thinking, oh, well, I already have it. I'm already holding on to it. So let me just, chill out a bit. I'm gonna run. I'm gonna do the no look. Football players. I remember somebody when I was younger, I played flag football, and I remember somebody got a little too comfortable, So what they try to do was, they taught us, when you catch the ball, right, you hold it with two hands like a baby, right? You got one hand on the on the upper side of the ball, the other hand on the other side, whatever the case is, you're holding the ball, right? Or maybe it was rugby, I don't remember. The point is, you got some dudes that try to one-hand it, right? They try to do the little things they see on TV, so they'll grab the ball one hand, they move them. This guy, dumbass, he caught the ball, grabbed it with one hand so close to the touchline, and he drops it. And people were just looking at him. You remember Rosario. He's looking at him. He's looking at him. He's like, yeah, you got this. He sees the shit. He just turns around. He said, hey, you know what? Hey, get this guy off the field. He ain't coming back on here no more. No more. For the next competition, this guy's not playing no more. And that was because in his mind, he thought, oh, I already got it. You know what I'm saying? I'm right there by the finish line. I'm going to just chill out a bit. Matter of fact, I'm going to do the one hand. Bro, why? Because what do you actually, is the goal to score the touchdown, or is the goal to show that you can hold the ball with one hand? If that was the case, why are you on the field? Right? And so it's the same thing with this truth. It's not about flexing, right? It's not about, oh, I already got this in the bag, I'm going to just cruise. No. Because at any moment, right, I believe there's a precept that says that if you think that you stand, be careful, right, lest you fall. At any moment, the Lord can shake you up. And if he shakes you up and your grip is not tight, you're going to drop it. And you're going to wonder, yo, did I just drop that? Like, yo, I can't believe I just dropped that. And don't think that we're going, oh, brother, let me drop mine so I can come help you. Yeah, you bugging, fucking, you done lost your minds, right? So you got to always factor in what exactly it is that we're fighting for. People do not, put in the practical terms of the kingdom, right? When we say the kingdom, a lot of people, it goes over their heads, right, as to what exactly that means. Today, right, people aspire to be, your famous, musicians, right, or your popular celebrities and so on and so forth. They want to quote unquote make it. If it's in sports, they want to be the Michael Jordans, right? They want to be the top of everything, because then it's known, right? You have power, you have rank, you have status. Why do countries go to war? Why do they build nuclear missiles? Why do they do all this diplomacy? Because they want to be at the top. Well, guess what? That very same thing is what the Lord said he's going to give us. That's what that crown of life comes with. But more importantly, as the thing that we will have that King Solomon didn't have was the immortality or the time to be able to actually utilize and enjoy that. King Solomon had a lot, but he just didn't have time. Okay. And that's why to him, it was all vain. And the Lord is saying, I'm going to make you perfect. I'm going to make you a God. I'm going to give you everything that nobody else has ever had, even in the scriptures. And all you got to do, if you really think about it, what is required of us versus what the Lord is going to give us, what is the Lord really asking for? You probably work harder in your regular 9 to 5 than doing the work of the Lord. If you think about it, right? Doing the work of the Lord in terms of one, living your actual life in a way that benefits you. I don't see how that's a problem. If the Lord says don't eat pork, it's for your health, right? If he says, follow these laws, statutes, and commandments, it's for your benefit. But when it comes to doing the works of the Lord, if you're a construction worker or a truck driver, or you work in retail or sales or whatever, you're doing more work than it is to serve the Lord, right? You got to lift this, you got to do that, your feet are hurting and all that. And the Lord just says, yo, understand this, study it, and speak it. You could literally be sitting in the comfort of your couch and do a 20-minute video. Meanwhile, you busting your ass in the snow, in the winter, in the summer, and in the fall, right? Through the allergies and all of that. For what? A 9 to 5 check. And the Lord is saying, look, I'm asking you for less and I'll give you a whole kingdom for all eternity. And you got dudes that are like, nah, I can't do that. But you'll sit on that same very couch, you'll sit on there and watch a 2-hour movie, but a 20-minute video you cannot do. So you're not interested in holding that crown. You don't actually believe the reward that's coming. And the worst part, like Haran said, is when you see how close you were. And you know how you're going to see that? The very same people you shook hands with, that you looked at, that you saw, they're going to have that glory. And you're going to be the one left there standing, just looking at them. And they're going to pull the Peter on you. They're going to say, yo, wasn't he one part of those Israelites? Wasn't he? Hey, did he actually teach with them brothers? And you're going to be there like, damn, I stood in the midst of these brothers. And now they have a crown on their head. Yahweh Shai is rubbing elbows with them. And I'm here like, damn, man, where did I go wrong? And the problem about that feeling is you can literally wake up every day in eternity and be reminded, because you'll see the 144,000. You'll see Yahweh Shai, but you won't see yourself up there, right? And yeah, you'll have it, but you'll always be eaten alive with that regret of, I could have. I was this close, but I just couldn't do it. And you don't get any redos. Once Yahweh Shai gets here, once the kingdom is here, you don't get a redo. You don't get a, you know what, I'm trying to do a lesson, but I'm kind of tired today. I'm going to just do it tomorrow. You don't get just pardon me this time and then I'll fix it next time. That's it. You're in the kingdom, bro. Whatever position you in, you stuck over there, So if you look to your left and you see Nate over there because he didn't want to repent, and you wonder how the fuck I get lumped up with him, in the kingdom, you don't want to be in that position, right? You want to be those who the Lord, look, the Most High is practical. Your human parents will tell you, especially parents that have multiple children, most of the time they'll tell you, oh, I don't have favorites. You know what I'm saying? That's a lie. It's a damn lie, because it's human nature. Everybody has favorites. They just say that so they don't hurt your feelings. The Most High doesn't care about hurting your feelings. And the Most High does show favoritism. So the Lord and Yahweh Shai don't have to smile in your face like they would with the elect when they're around you. He can, but he doesn't have to. So don't think that it's the Lord's obligation to not make you feel bad in the kingdom because you are not one of the elect. Yeah, you're going to be good. Yeah, you're going to be delivered, but you're still part of those who did not. You put your hand to the plow and you didn't finish. And the Lord he'll grill your ass, for a minute so you can get that feeling through your head. Yeah, we cool. I'm your big brother, but we not that cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we cool, but this is really where you should have been. Okay. And he going to give you that look and you're going to know, like, damn, you're going to put your head down like, damn, Lord, like, hey, I served you at one point, but look at where I'm at. Let me get a quick precept and I'll pass it. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 3, verse 12. Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my God, and he shall go no more out. Now, the temple of the Most High is never going to be broken down. So if you're a pillar in that temple, then at that point, you all set, because you're one of the foundational pieces that for all of eternity, your position will always be known. Guess what? Israel is only going to grow more and more and more and more, right? If you're a man amongst men and there's 5 men, okay, you're known. If you're a man amongst men and there's 1,000 men, now you're even more known. If you're a man amongst men and there's a freaking billion people in different galaxies and they all know you, because the 144,000, that number doesn't grow with the nation. It's going to stay there. So what does that mean? That means it's going to become more and more precious to be of that number, because 144,000 amongst 200,000, okay. But amongst a million, oh, okay. But amongst infinity, everybody's going to wonder, like, yo, a million years from now, damn, man, those are that's them. How do you become one of them? You don't. That was a time in history that only those that had that opportunity could ever attain that. Like when they have like limited edition things, and you come into the game like 10 seasons down, you're like, yo, how'd you get that? You're like, the only way was if you can go back in time and play it at this time to acquire that. If not, hey, ain't nothing you can do. But we are right here. We're at the entrance. We're at the limited edition doorstep. And all we got to do is cross it. Like, understand the severity of what the Lord has blessed us with. He's given us everything we need to succeed. All you got to do now is just do it. It doesn't matter if you're in pain. Like the motivational speaker said, he said, you already in pain. You might as well get a reward out of it. Are you going to be in pain and then get destroyed on top of that? There it is. You're already suffering. The world has already ridiculed you. Bro, just finish the course. But as it says here, I will write upon him the name of my God and the name of the city of my God, which is New Jerusalem, which cometh down out of heaven from my God, and I will write upon him my new name. You will have a privilege that nobody in existence else will have, except those like you, and nobody else can ever attain that. That is the importance of not letting go of that crown for anything. And you're going to feel real stupid if you let go of that crown for things like emotions, for things like a woman. Imagine how beautiful the women in the kingdom are going to be. And you're going to look back and say, I gave up my crown for that ugly, big back, morbidly obese, hell no, this man-eating beast. You gonna feel real bad about yourself if you look in the mirror and you see that. But yeah, you brothers got it.
Hey, just to add, quick point, and the next brother could take it. What it reminds me of is, like, I think we had mentioned this at camp too. Like when you have a dynasty, like in like a football reference of what along the lines of what Shalimar mentioned earlier, when you have a dynasty, those that were like fans and from the beginning is like a different feel than like people that just bandwagon at the end, right? So like you coming into the kingdom and you being born into righteousness, it's not going to feel the same as us coming from the bottom and being glorified into righteousness, glorified into immortality and receiving that crown. You're just going to come and inherit eternity, which is beautiful. I'm, not taking away from that at all, but it's a different glory for those that are going to experience being a mortal and then being a mortal and then going into immortality. There's a way different ball game. Okay. And that's the same sense of a team that was on the bottom and then all of a sudden they become the championships. And not only that, but they keep winning to the point where winning is just like, that's the standard of our lives. You're going to be born into immortality. You're going to be born a God. You're not going to know what it's like to go from being in this painful situation because you're just going to be eliminated. And then when you come in, being immortal, being a God is going to be the standard amongst us. And not only that, you're going to know that you were not of those that were loyal to the Lord in the beginning when this was all going down. It's like coming in and the party's already raging and going and you already missed a lot of it, but you still going to be glad to be there. But you brothers got it.
Hey, Khan, I don't know if y'all brought this out, but Ron had mentioned it earlier. 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 7. It says, I'm starting at 6, it says, for I am now ready to be offered, and the time of my departure is at hand, right? And this is Paul knowing that, he was going to have to, be put to death, because of the word of the Most High, which, really when you understand the when you look at things spiritually and you understand the reward of serving the Lord and the reward of dying for the Lord, there's the sentiment isn't like you are afraid to die, right? Like Paul said, I'm ready to be offered, right? It's more so a blessing, right? Even as the disciples when they got beat, right? They said they took it as joy to suffer shame for the Lord, right? Because you suffering shame for righteousness' sake, and you know that the Most High is the righteous judge, which He gave a judgment to Yahweh Shai. He's not going to just let that suffering just be for no reason, right? As it says in the book of Hebrews, that the Lord is not unrighteous to forget your labor of love. See, so the Lord has the as a father, right? As Yahweh Shai said, like you being evil, know how to give good gifts. Like how much more of your father in heaven, right? He knows how to give, good gifts, and it's going to be way beyond more than we can even imagine, right? I'll never forget, back in the world where I used to celebrate Christmas. There was one Christmas day, whatever, and the week before, me and my brother was playing outside, and we like ended up like we was like playing with rocks, and we ended up shattering our next door neighbor's windshield, and it was like, and she seen it, like she seen that we did it, and we tried to run into the house before she came in there, and we got the doorbell ring. She was a Hamite. We got the doorbell ring, and she just standing there with a smile on her face. And I was like, "Fuck!" Like she knew we did it. So then she told my parents, and then my parents was like, my dad was like, "Yeah, like there ain't no Christmas for y'all. They ain't getting no presents." And it was like, it was like you couldn't even be mad because like you fucked up. But a little did we know, he already had bought the gifts. So on Christmas Day, we didn't even wake up. We just was like, you're staying in bed. You know how you used to wake up in the morning, like try to get there early. You just staying in bed. We ain't gonna wake up. So my dad called me. He was like, "Hey, come into the living room." I was like, "Ain't gonna be nothing here." And that day was the day we got Xbox and PS2 the same like at the same time. We got the Xbox and the PS. I was like literally like the best so-called Christmas, right? The gifts, whatever. Obviously being in the world, but I say all that to say, like, my father, like, he still gave us a gift, even though we, did something that was bad, right? We still did something like that was evil. And he obviously doing that and celebrating pagan holidays, he was doing something evil, but he still know how to make us quote unquote feel happy. So imagine the most high, right? That's why the Lord Yahweh Shai said, like, it is your good father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. And when the Lord is going, they always say, like, you can't stop the Lord from pleasing himself, right? He has everything. Everything is his. Nobody can say, "Oh, you're not. No, you can't go that. That's too much." Like, there's no such thing as too much to the Lord. So when He's going to give His sons, starting with Yahweh Shai, because remember, all of this is Yahweh Shai's. So He is, and this is only son. So it's like you giving everything you have as an inheritance to your only son, and then your only son giving that to all of his brothers. That is what we have in store for us. So when you think about, the suffering, right, as Paul spoke about, the sufferings of this present time is not worthy to be compared. Like that statement is so like it's simple, but it's so impactful because you really can't compare it to what the glory is going to be, and that glory is an inherited glory, right? It's an inherited glory. It's not something that you can buy. It's not something that you can, try to swindle. It's not something that you can steal. It's literally like an heirloom, an inheritance, right? So this is why the men that truly believe on this, right, and the sisters and the believers that may not be prophets, right? This is why like our main focus, our only focus is trying to get to that point because once you get there, as Yahweh Shai said, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and all of its righteousness, and everything else is going to be added onto you. If you just seek for that crown, then you don't got to seek for women. You don't got to seek for a mansion. You don't got to seek for anything else. All of that comes with the Lord giving you that crown. All of that comes with the Lord making you a joint heir. So it says, verse 7, I have fought the good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. And it is a thing of faith, right? Because The scripture speaks about it's not faith if you know, if basically, let me get it real quick. It's not considered faith if you can see it, right? It's the and remember, without faith, it's impossible to please the Lord. So what we're fighting for is a thing that cannot be seen, but it's something that we have wholeheartedly believe in, to the point where we're willing to, even give up our own lives for it. Romans 8 verse where is it? Romans 8 verse 24. It says, "For we are saved by hope, but hope that is seen is not hope." See, and you have individuals, right? Like the Paul spoke about the corruptible crown. You have people that fight for things that is seen, right? And they'll go hard for it, right? They'll actually, dedicate themselves to try to accomplish a carnal goal. But that's not really something that is of a hope, right? It's just, oh well, if I see this house, I'm gonna work hard for this house, and then I'm gonna save, and I'm gonna go get it. You already know what your expectation is. We have a hope in the expectation of salvation, but we don't even know what that actually really is going to even entail, right? Eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, and that's like that makes it even more, desirable unto us, right? And that's the spirit that the Lord gave us, because people, the things that we can't see make us want it even more. But then you have other people, because they can't see it, they don't want to try to attain it. And that's the duality of, the Lord giving you the faith, and those that don't have the faith. Because if you don't have the faith, then you're not going to fight for something that you can't see. It says, "For what a man seeth, why doeth he yet hope for? But if we hope for that we see not, then do we with patience wait for it." Going back to Revelation 3 and 10, the word of my patience. If we can't see it, but we believe it, right? And the faith is the evidence, right? Hebrews 11, faith is the evidence of things not seen. So we can see it with our spiritual eye, our mind's eye. And therefore, with patience, we wait for it. And that's why we always attain, always paying attention to prophecy, right? Because it's the prophecy that is really, when we speak about prophecy and when we speak about, the destruction of Babylon, we're not really focused on that part of it. I mean, yes, but we're focused on that part, but that's not where it just ends. We're speaking about that because we know after that comes the glory. After that comes the salvation. After that comes what we actually really are doing this for, right? We're not doing all of this because, we just want America to be destroyed and that's it. And then close the book and chapter's over. No, there's a whole, there's a whole story that comes after that. That is what the scripture says, the world of Israel that is without end. That is where the glory is. That is where, the that city is, that is wearing great, wonderful things, right? But we know we got to walk that tight rope, and that tight rope is going to, come with difficulty. It's going to come with tribulation. It's going to come with all these other things. But because we have a hope in what comes after that, we're willing to walk this, dangerous path. And to us, the danger isn't even something that is like makes us think twice about walking it, because we know how glorifying the reward is going to be. So that's why when Paul goes back in Second Timothy, he says that I have finished my course, I have kept the faith. Henceforth, there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness. And that's another thing, right? That we of the hopeful elect, we have a desire of, right? That's a mindset. We have a desire of actually being 100% righteous, right? People of this world, they don't think like that. They don't have the mindset of, like, I never want to sin. I just want to be completely perfect. I want to be completely faultless and sinless. And that is a mindset of a God, really, because that's what the angels, Yahweh, they're without sin. They're perfect. And this is what we are, but we are in these shades of darkness. So we're fighting to get to that state, right? Get to that first estate. It says, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give me at that day, and not to me only, but unto all them also that love his appearing. Okay. And that is why, we speak about the elect collectively. Of course, you got the rank with the prophets, but the scripture speaks about we all are fighting for that same penny, right? We all are fighting to get that same reward, the glory of righteousness, the glory of immortality, being out of these, vile bodies, right? It's funny because the other day I was like getting ready, and my Eve was in the room, but I was in the bathroom so she could see me, and I was just like looking at myself in the mirror. She's like, oh, what are you thinking? Oh, you look good, and you like how you look. I'm like, nah, I'm actually like, yeah, I can't believe I'm in flesh. Like I was like literally just like, I can't believe I'm in flesh right now. Like this shit whack, and this is like that concept goes like beyond a person, of this world's mind, because it's like, what do you mean? We mean flashlight. But it's like for us, it's like, yo, this shit is whack. Like like a literally whack to be in this state. But that's because the Lord gave us a mind that is not of this world, as he said, like you are not of this world. So yeah, we gotta suffer these things of this world, but we have to live like a pilgrim in this world. And every day, we have an earnest desire to be out of this and back, to that first estate. And that's only something that, that's a mindset that is really a blessing, that the Lord gave us. And with that mindset, that's what keeps us, as it says here in Philippians 3, then I'll pass it. Philippians 3, verse, I'll start at 12. Not as though I had already attained, either were already perfect, but I follow after that, if that I may apprehend that for which also I am apprehended for Hamashiach. Let's get that in NLT. It says, I don't mean to say that I have already achieved these things or that I have already reached perfection, right? And we haven't. This is why we have to consistently, constantly be humble, right? The Lord gave us the wisdom, right? He gave us the knowledge, but as a brother, I forgot who mentioned it, we still have a fear because we know that the Lord can spew us out. The Lord can, take the Holy Spirit from us, right? David spoke about that. So we know that we have the crown, but it's not like we walking around with it on our heads, right? It's not like, I'm a king, dude, now you gonna respect me. Not anybody can look at you like you crazy. Like, you a king of white man. Go ahead and clock in, boy. Like that's what it is. So you get, and that's like the sweetness of it, right? When you first come into the truth, you look at it like, I'm the son of God, and we are those things, but we're not living like that. We don't actually exemplify that, and that's the how Yahweh Shai was. He was the son of God. He was the King of Kings, but he came lowly. So if he had to do it, then we got to walk that walk as well. It says, but I press on to possess that perfection for which Hamashiach first possessed me. Next verse, it says, I'm gonna read that part in NLT as well. It says, no, dear brothers, I have not achieved it, but I focus on this one thing, forgetting the past and looking forward to what lies ahead, right? And that's the mindset, right? You gotta forget the things of this world, right? We're users, but not abusers of this world. And we still got our responsibilities that we take care of, right? Brothers, you, especially in this time, you ain't gonna find it'd be hard pressed to find a young Jake men that are as responsible as we are in this, as we are in this because of this truth, right? The brothers take care of their responsibilities, but just because we know we have responsibilities, we're not letting those responsibilities be the top priority of our lives. We understand that the nucleus of our life is the truth, and that's when you do that, you're able, when the time comes, if it comes, you're able to let go of all of these other things, right? Being a pilgrim on the earth, because ultimately that the main goal, the main agenda is to get to that crown, right? Get that crown of righteousness. Verse 14, I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of the Most High, which is in Yahweh Shai, right? A high calling, right? You have people that their aspirations are limited to the carnal of this world, right? I want to be a CEO, right? Nobody even thinks like that. Jake don't even think like that, right? I want to be I just want to I just want a house, son. I just want a house, and Jake don't even think like that either. Now you can't even think about getting a house because you can't even afford that either, right? Oh, Benz, no. So now everything is lowering. I just want to be able to survive. Like that's where it's at right now. I'm just trying to eat, and that's the hell that we're in. But Jake still looks at it as in like, that's something, worth achieving. but we have a high calling. Like what we're talking about is you can't get it from this earth. Like it's not something that no matter what dedication, what perseverance you put in on this side, right? Carnally, you're not going to get what we're looking for. And this is why we go so hard for this, because it's only this, it's only the truth that can get us what we're looking for. Only this. There's nowhere else that we can get immortality, right? This devil is trying to come out with ways, technology. So you ain't gonna be able to get that, right? And if you, and I can't even say if you do get it, but in the means of you trying to get is actually going to bring death, because that's who you are. So the only way that we can get perfection, only way that we can get immortality, only way that we can get dominion, only way that we can get our women right, only way that we can get the curses off of us, all of these things is through what? Pressing toward this mark of the high calling, the promise, right? As it says in NLT, the promise that the Most High gave us, which is in Yahweh Shai Mashiach. And that's it. And that's what we dedicate our lives into, which I got it.
Hey, I think Shalomah, you had a precept a while back.
Yeah, I think this is the precept that the brother Baquar was mentioning. One second. Yeah, 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 12. Wherefore let him that thinketh he standeth take heed lest he fall. Is that what you were talking about?
Yeah, Khan, that's that's beautifully said. And Zaquan, pretty much you said the whole thing, right? That's it. That's it. How truly whack is it to be a slave king, right? And that's just like Yahweh Shai said. He said, "If this were my kingdom, my servants will fight." Right. So we know that even if we had a crown on our heads, you're not really truly going to enjoy it. And I was actually talking to my Eve yesterday about this, and I was like, man, one thing I can't wait for, because we go through it. We go through the motions. We deal with the ups and downs of being in this flesh and being in this world and so on and so forth. But we know that we have a mission. We have a reward ultimately at the end of all of this, right? And I was thinking about it. I said, man, we're about to enter into a kingdom where we're going to be limitless, because the only limitation for us here is death, right? We get limited because of death. Like you can't jump off the top of a building, because if you fall headlong, you die and you're out of there, right? You're not going to jump into the middle of the ocean because shit, lo and behold, you close your eyes, you open your eyes, and you see a big ass shark right in front of you. That's it. That's it. That's the end of it. That's the end of your life, right? You know what I'm saying? Especially being Jay, you can't swim. It's over with. You're gonna panic and it's over with, right? So we think about all these things. Like think of just this society, how it depresses you. Think of the society, how it just pushes you, to your limits, right? And you always have to find a way to find some strength, some way, somehow, to keep on fighting. In the kingdom, we're not gonna have to deal with all that. I told her, I said, yo, in the kingdom, man, just imagine you open your backyard window or something, right? And you open your door, and all you see is just
Yeah,
vast
it ain't gonna be a backyard. It'll be a back planet.
back planet, right? It's a whole planet, And imagine just in Zaquan, you mentioned about the love that the Lord has, right? Yahushua Shai said that it is our Father's good pleasure to give us the kingdom, and we have those kind of traits. When you put so much time and effort into something and you specialize in it to set it for somebody else, you can't wait for them to try it out, right? It's like you working on a project or something, and you just like you thinking about it, like, yo, this is that, this is this. Like, I can't wait to see how they're going. Like, yo, it's gonna be lit. Like, it's like when you have brothers, you about to have brothers come over. You think about the food, you think about the drinks, you think about the good time y'all gonna have. You set everything up, and you take time. You actually take time to think about each and every brother, what they like, what they don't like. Things that's gonna make them happy. Like if y'all into video games, you think about all those things. If y'all into working out, you think of different workouts y'all gonna do together. Like you actually want to share something good. There's an old saying that says, what's the point of having good or something good if you can't share with others, right? So every time you have something good, you want to share. Like when I come out, like let's say I ran into some good food. My thing is, yo, I want to put brothers on. That's always your mindset. Like, yo, brothers gotta try this. Like, So imagine Yahushai for all these years in the heavens building something great. That's why he said, in my father's house are many mansions. If it weren't so, I would have told you, right? Behold, I go to prepare a place for you, right? And I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna get you, and we're gonna go chill. We're gonna really chill. As a matter of fact, that wine that y'all trying to hold on to that. Wait till my work is done. We gonna drink that wine together, right? That's somebody who's confident in the good that he's doing. And he can't wait for you to come in there and inherit that. Come and enjoy it with me. Like, enter into my kingdom. Yeah, this is what I'm doing too. Like, yeah, this is what I'm at. That's, you know what I'm saying? Like 2,000 plus years ago, you saw me all messed up and fucked up. But 2,000 years later, look what I'm doing. Look what the Lord has got. Like, this is where I'm at. Come join me, right? And the Lord is like carefully crafting each and everything tailored to our spirits, right? That's why the Apostle Paul said, eyes have not seen, neither have ears heard what the Lord has in store for those that love him. So we're thinking about all of these things like, damn, Lord, like all of us, and you got something special for each and every one of us? Yes, he does. And he can't wait for us to actually get into it and be like, damn, Lord, that too? Oh, shit, Lord, that too? Like, it's like seeing a kid in a candy store. It's like, oh, shit. And then you're just so happy. And he's happy just seeing you happy. Like, oh, shit, Lord, like, oh, fuck, you know? That's, I don't know what the hell that was,
Hey,
but
it's like when the when the Zaquan Zion serves up the tuna sandwich. He's waiting, he's watching. Hey, how did it taste? You like that? Hey, that's it.
he asks you, what you think about that? You know, and he goes to each and every brother. Yeah, well, what you think about that? Because he wants to hear your feedback, right? I know I made it. Like I put a lot of love and effort into this, so give me your feedback on what you think about it, and we're gonna have eternity to give the Lord feedback on what we think about his good things. Like, damn, Lord, like you thought about all that too? Damn, I didn't even think about this. Like, I didn't even think this even existed. Like, I didn't even think any of that. Right? The Lord says, yo, I'm gonna give you eternity to just keep exploring. You got eternity, right? And I was telling my Eve, I said, yo, man, in the kingdom, we just literally just gonna open up your, like you said, the back planet, you know, and then all you see is you got literally like the ocean is like all the way back, right? And then you got a whole vast land, nicely cut, perfect grass, right? And you have trees that are vibrant. You got animals. And I was like, because I was watching the elders from Dallas on Friday, and I believe the elder Ariella was mentioning, he was like, he's into arboretums, you know, like which is like places where they have trees and plants and so on and so forth. And I was like, yo, that's what's up. Like me personally, I'm not into like trees and stuff like that. It's beautiful. I'll be there. I would like to enjoy it and stuff like that. But I'm into animals. I'm an animal guy. You know, I know the Zaquan is like, he's into like the coral reefs and stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like each brother has his own thing. You know, it's all unique, you know? So I was thinking, I was like, yo, in the kingdom, man, like it's like they say, the possibility are endless. The possibilities are endless, right? And I was like, yo, we get to inherit that. We get to inherit that. Like, this is what we're fighting for. People be like, oh yeah, I just want the kingdom. You have no idea. Like you can't fathom what we're actually fighting for. The Lord has actually programmed our spirits to actually think about that. Like every time we wake up, the kingdom. When we first came to truth, that was the first thing. Like, yo, I want the kingdom. I want the kingdom. I want the kingdom. Right? And I was telling her, I was like, yo, just imagine just being in harmony with nature, right? Just that alone. That might seem trivial to most people, but to us, it means everything. Like we're finally in harmony with nature. I say, yo, you open up your backyard or whatever, and it's literally like the ocean, and you got the whales. The moment they see you pop your head out, they're waiting for you. Like, oh shit, here you are. And they're all excited, and you seeing them excited, and it makes you excited. And the only thing you're gonna do is look up and glorify the Lord. Oh Lord, this is what you created for us to come and inherit. Like Yahushua, you were creating all this for us. Like, wow, Lord, look at the whales just coming out the ocean and boom, come right back down in the ocean. They're just so happy because they're finally at peace. You got the birds chirping, all the birds just flock to you right there. You're like, hold on, wait, hold on. Let me just get some of the fresh air before you tackle me. Hold on. You know, and you got the beasts of the field. You got antelope, you got this giraffe, you got elephants, you got lions, you got all kinds of animals, and they're all excited just to see you. And you're like, yo, these are like my pets, my backyard pets, you know? And you're just excited to see them, they're excited to see you, and just that spirit alone. It's very organic. You breathe in the fresh air, and you're like, damn, bro, I can't believe I used to wake up at 6 in the morning, think about work, and I was mad tight. Every Sunday, I'm like, oh man, I gotta wake up tomorrow. That's a nightmare. Like I don't have to go back to that anymore. You know, think about you look over to your side, you got a whole bunch of women just happy to see you. Like, oh my God, here he is. Oh, and you're like, oh shit, like damn, there's a whole bunch of you know, you got servants like, oh my Lord, what are you gonna eat today? Like, let's start processing what he's gonna eat for the rest of the day. Like they're already processing that. right? Everywhere you go, you got angels passing over you. Hey, shalom, king, hey, shalom, hey, you know. And I was just picturing that, and I was like, this is the kingdom, like and that's nothing. That's nothing. That's just me, my own imagination. You know, you got other brothers that specialize in stones. You go to his planet, and it's just like the way he's built his house is just like you'd be like, yo, I could see your house embodies your spirit. Like, damn, like you got this here, you got that here. Like, yo, that stone is fire. Like, where'd you get that stone? But it's like that's just unique for that brother. You know, you go to another brother, and it's like he got different type of animals and different creatures, different fishes, different whatever. You know what I'm saying? But it's all uniquely tailored to that brother. You go to his planet, and it's just like, oh, that's Aishiar right there. I see, oh, that's Aishiar right there. You know, I go, oh, that's Itasom right. Oh, that's Bakar, that's Shalimar, that's yeah, that's you. Every time you go to each brother's where they at, you gonna see and feel that like that's his zone, like that's his shit. Like, no, that's dope. Like, I get to be a part of that, you know. And I was just thinking about that, and I was like, man, like I'm getting overwhelmed just thinking about this. That's just my thoughts. Imagine when we get there. You see what I'm saying? So it's like it keeps you going, you know. And I'm like, you know what? It's okay if people don't understand how we think and how we operate, because remember, Yahushua said we are in this world but not of this world, and Yahushua had to sacrifice greatly for us not to have to go through all that, right? He had to go through what he went through. Man, I'm getting emotional, man. Shit, you know. But he had to go through what he went through, so we don't have to, you know, go through that brunt of that punishment to get everything that we about to get. So it's like, damn, Lord, like you did all that, you sacrificed all that just for us. That's like a whole nother level of love. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, damn, and all you ask is of us is to do this. That's it. You know, that's why the Apostle Paul said, I believe he said something to the effect of that basically like everything that we're doing is not even like in comparison to what we about to get. Like it's like, oh damn, like Lord, we did all like everything that you've given us is for just that. Like that's it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when you think of it like that, it's like, yo, this is they know greater love than Yahushua's love that he did. So the only thing that we got to do to reciprocate that is just to finish the work. We already got the crown. Just hold on to it. That's it. That's it. That's all he's saying. Just hold on. So when I come back, I can identify who you are. That's it. Hey, why not? You know, why not? And the Apostle Paul said this real fast. And I'm gonna pass it. There's a book of 1 Corinthians chapter 9 and verse 23. It says, and this I do for the gospel's sake, that I might be partaker thereof with you. Right? So it's like I do my part just like how y'all doing your part, because ultimately we're gonna enjoy when your house shot gets back. Like that's the goal. Like forget about these bum ass women over here. Yeah, it'd be nice to have some nice pretty things and shit, but what we're about to get, we're about to inherit, bro, we're not gonna have to go looking for women. They're gonna be sending women to us by the bus loads, by the chariot loads. They're gonna be bringing them to us. Like, my Lord, my King, this is for you. Like, I brought the best of my best to you. Like, oh shit, man. The Persian women, they're gonna bring the best of the best of the best. The Edomite women, even if we want Edomite women, that's if we want Edomite women, right? Like the Lord says, to our heart's desire, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, just think about it. You know, we're gonna have it all. We're gonna have it all. We're gonna have it all, bro. So right now we have nothing. What's the point of holding on to anything? You don't got it. Like, Klaus Schwab is telling us that we're gonna own nothing and we're gonna be happy. Like, fuck that nigga, man. We about to have it all, man, including them. We're gonna own them bitches, man. So that's greater. Like, that's, hey, to me, that's like, it goes beyond just like, oh, we just got delivered and that. Nah, like the Zaquan said, the destruction of America, it isn't the end of the book. Nah, it's just the beginning of the next chapter. You see what I'm saying? When the Lord destroyed the first world, when he destroyed it with the water, that wasn't the end of it, right? We're living the results of that time, after that time. You see, when he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah and the rest of the neighboring cities, right? That wasn't the end of it all. That wasn't the end of the world, right? So this is not going to be the end of the world. This is going to be the end of this world, this age, this way of doing things, this current fuck-ass way of doing things. But when the Lord comes back and he reinstates everything, that's a whole new chapter that we get to live, that we get to write, that we get to experience. You see what I'm saying? That's what the apostles and the prophets and everybody was looking forward to. Yahushua's return was going to be the beginning of our new kingdom. But when he told us, not yet, right? Because even the apostles were saying it, that Yahushua, which is Solomon, his kingdom was he's been put on pause. You see? So we go and get to resume that kingdom with Yahushua when he comes back. Okay, when he beams us up and he takes us up with him. When we come back, that's the continuation of that eternal glory. That's a beautiful thing. Okay, so the Apostle Paul said here in 1 Corinthians 9:24, he says, "Know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but one receiveth the prize? So run that ye may obtain." Okay, and it's crazy because yesterday and today I was watching videos on like Olympic runners. I was watching Usain Bolt and all these other people, and I was just fascinated by their immense dedication to their craft. You know what I'm saying? Like when you actually watch athletes who excel, like Shalomar, you mentioned a few football players and so on and so forth, right? And you watch how dedicated they are to their craft, and it's like, damn, like now I stopped and I looked at myself. I said, yo, am I as dedicated to this work as these niggas are to what they do? And I was like, if I like to look at how Kobe Bryant is always preparing for a game or whatever, like you think of your favorite athlete or whatever, and they are so dedicated. There's a reason why they're great. There's a reason why they're so good at what they do. Is because they are so dedicated to that. And I said, yo, we don't have to be lawyers. We don't have to be doctors. We don't have to be anything. We're just average men in this world. But we're above average in the eyes of the Lord. He gave us an above average spirit. That's why everything we do, we're always above average. When you look at what we do in the world, we're always above everybody else, no matter what it is. It's just how we are, right? So I was thinking about that. I was like, damn, like, shit, look at how Usain Bolt practices. Look at how much dedication he has. He actually studies the art and then perfects his part of the art. And I was like, how can I take some of what he's doing and bring it into the truth? As in, this guy is waking up at wee hours of the night, and all he's focused about is his form and his running, his breathing, his what he's eating. All these different things is so that he can go into that one race and win, right? I'm like, this nigga would take 3 to 6 months to practice just for one fucking race. I'm like, damn, that's some dedication, bro. Look at Mayweather, boxing. This dude practice just for one match, just so he could win, right? Look at Kobe. He practiced, take the same shot, over 2,000 shots, just for one chance in a game to win a game winner. I said, nah, same thing with us. Just that one time when your house shot gets back, that's the one time, like Bakar, you were saying, you don't get to go back 10 seasons later to say, oh man, how do I get those best, whatever. Nah, this is the one time. So our mindset is preparation for that one time. We're making sure we're getting ready for the return of our Lord. That's the main event. So everything we're doing is in preparation for that. In preparation for that. Everything you do, everything you say, everywhere you go, it's how am I best prepared to be an offering to Yahushua when he comes back? Is he gonna look at me and be like, nah, you know what? Nah, I don't want this one right here. I'm gonna go with you. Nah. If Yahushua sees me, my mindset is, Lord, as soon as you see me, you're like, his eyes should pop. Like, ooh, that's one of my men right there. That's one of my sheep right there. It should never be, is he one of my, let me clean him up a little bit. Let me see if it's really, nah, I don't want that. Get the nigga up out of here. Give me this one. No. When Yahushua gets back, the moment he sees us, his eyes should twinkle. You see, that's what you want. That's what you want because the master is here. He's here to give his reward. So if he sees me, shit, he better be happy to see me because I'm happy to see him. You see? So that's the mindset. It's reciprocal. You see what I'm saying? What's that?
No, I was gonna say to what you just said about like exactly what you just said, plus like the Mayweather and the Kobe and the Usain Bolt. You know, with them, it's like you with boxing, you may see your opponent, but in your mind, for somebody that's that dedicated, it's not I want to go and match this person's level. It's I want to go in there and completely dominate them. And I don't know what level they're gonna meet me with. So in my mind, all I'm doing, it's never enough, right? I have to do it to the point where I'd rather be overpowered against this person than to just barely hold my own. And so because I don't know if they're a 3 or a 5, I'm going to a 20, I'm going to a 50, I'm going to whatever I can go to. So when I meet them, if you are 2, I'm gonna crush you. If you are 90, I'm gonna still crush you. And that's the mindset you want to have in this truth, that you don't know what level the Lord is gonna gauge you at. So don't look at it as, oh, well, the requirement is 2 videos a week. Shit. All right, I got my 2 videos. Okay, I'm good. No. It's not about just barely crossing the threshold. If you truly are a man of the Lord, your mindset is, Lord, I'm trying to, like Aharon said, I'm trying to do something to where when you look down, you're excited. You may look at all this wickedness, but my light is shining. Like it's at the corner of your eyes. Like, damn, this servant, man. Shit. You know, you say Satan can't do nothing against you. Like, it doesn't matter what he tries. Like, bro, if that's all you got, go to the backyard somewhere, you know. But you want to have the mindset that, Lord, whatever test you're gonna give me, I don't just want to pass. I want to blow it out the water. I want to completely annihilate whatever exam you got for me. And I don't know how high the bar is going to be, but however high it's going to be, I want to be higher. With that mindset, as the Apostle Paul Peter said, giving all diligence, you will not fall. Because in your mind, it's like, well, if I did only one video, but I can do another, let me do another. It's better to have more than to have less. So that's the mindset you want to have in this truth. It's not just like, oh, I want to be mediocre, or all right, I'm just in here in the background. No, I want to stand out for being right, or for being righteous, right? For doing the work of the Lord. Like, I want to embody the craft. I want to have 100% truth. Not so I can go and brag about having 100% truth, but so that I can know, like, Lord, look at this. You gave me this. I've embodied it. You gave me this little bit here, Lord. I've done everything I could possibly do with it. Like, I want you to look at me, and Lord, and be like, that is a quality model servant. You know what I'm saying? That, and you want the Lord to use you as an example. You want him to be like, when I say man of the Lord, when I say do my works, that's what I'm talking about. That's the mindset you want to have. If you have that mindset, every day you wake up, you'll shoot for it. You'll drive for it. That's all.
Hey, that's those Salaki, bro. That's in Sirach where it talks about let us now praise renowned men. That's what we want, man. We want our names to be amongst those men that we praise now, thousands of years later, right? And they don't have any, relics or busts or things like that, but it's the written record of what they have done that lasts forever. I think that's what Scripture speaks about how I forgot exactly which verse it is in. I think it's Wisdom of Solomon, but it speaks about how like the righteous names basically ring into immortality. Or their name basically goes into bliss forever. And that's what we are fighting for is the fact that we can have our names written in heaven. That's why Yahweh Shai said, rejoice, not that you have power over these demons, right? But rejoice rather that your names are written in heaven. And that's the key. Right? You want your name to be written in heaven. When Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, sees you, or when Yahweh Shai presents you before the Father, Yahweh Shai can do that with joy. Yahweh Shai can do that with like, he said he good, right? You think of Yahweh as a consuming fire, and Yahweh Shai is presenting you in front of him. You want Yahweh Shai to have mold you into a fine gold. Because when he puts you in the fire of the Lord, you want to be able to come out as refined. Because if you ain't refined, then you don't belong to the Lord. Because as it says in Isaiah 62, that those will be a so like let me get it real quick. That they're going to be a Isaiah 62 verse 3. It says, "Thou shalt also be a crown of glory in the hand of the Lord, and a royal diadem in the hand of thy God." See, and only a lively stone can make it through that fire. Only a lively stone can be worthy to go pass through the fire and become refined and become, precious. And that's why the Lord said that. Peter said that you are now built up into the lively stones, right? To the spiritual temple, and this is all of that takes what? Dedication. It takes the perseverance. It takes, the toiling and the constant, fighting and battle, right? The Lord, Esdras, Uriel told Esdras that this is the condition of the battle. If you overcome, you're going to receive this. But if you don't overcome, if you get overtaken, then you're going to have to suffer. And that's that's fair, right? That's fair. The Lord presents the battle in front of you. He gives you the tools, right, to be able to fight the battle, right? He gives you the shield of faith. He gives you the helmet of righteousness. He gives you the breastplate, all these things. And you go, all right, go out there and fight. I got you. I'm with you. I gave you the tools. Go and fight. But if you don't have that courageousness, if you don't have that valor, right? If you don't have that mindset, that fortitude to go and fight the battle, then you're gonna lose. And you can't blame it on the weapon, right? You can't blame it on the armor because the Lord gave you the armor, and the armor is tried. there's countless cloud of witnesses that showcase that the armor is tried, is good. But it really will go into whether or not you are a soldier. And that's why it talks about, Paul spoke about a good soldier will not be entangled with the affairs of this world. Okay. That's one of the reasons. A lot of the times when men don't attain to the crown It's because of the flesh. That's really what it is. It's the flesh that takes your drive from, being able to continue in the fight. And that is why you have to be staying in that spiritual mindset, man. That's it. That's the only way that you get it. But yeah, nah, I got it. So I keep for jumping.
Yeah, Khan. That's I'm just going to finish off with the precept in 1 Corinthians 9 and verse 25. It says, "And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things." Right. In other words, like we gave the example of all these different athletes and so on and so forth. They're very disciplined. That's one thing I was like, damn, like that's discipline. They say, oh, this guy, everybody's sleeping at 6 a.m. He done already finished his first workout. He came back and he's getting ready for, while everybody's waking up to go for their first training. He's in there for like by the time they get there, he's already working out. He's on his third workout. And they're like, damn, like you don't get tired? And he's now saying, yo, let's go. Like, what y'all waiting for? Y'all late. He's always on it, and that's the same mindset. And I look at Elder Apostle Hart, like all the elder apostles, but I look at Elder Apostle, I'm like, damn, like what kind of engine did this man have? I look at Bakwar, I'm like, what kind of engine? What the fuck? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I look at Taz, I'm like, damn, y'all always pumping out videos. Like, what's up? But remember, it's like the scripture says that every man has his own lot, right? Every spirit, but you got to do the best you can with what you have, right? The Lord might say, hey, listen, like the Apostle Paul said, we're different members of the same body, right? Remember, the heart is always pumping. It's always pumping. Even when you're sleeping, the heart is pumping, right? So the heart is always working. The feet is sleeping when you're sleeping, but the heart is still pumping, right? So that heart needs to pump in order for the body to be able to wake up the next day and for the feet to work so then the body could keep moving, right? Then your head wakes up and then your hands and so on and so on. So each member of the body is very essential because without the feet, what's the point of having, okay, you have a heart, you're living, but you can't walk. You're limited, right? What you can have feet, you can have legs, but with no arms, you're limited. You can have the whole body, but no heart. You're done. You're out of there, right? So each member is very important, and you notice the importance when it's not there. You see, but when it's there, it's like some people take it for granted. We don't take it for granted. The little that you do, guess what? It's not little because that's very important. It has to play that little role for everything else to function. You see, so whatever lot that you have, function to the best of your ability. That's why when you're not functioning, the rest of the body gets a hit, like your head hurt. You'd be like, oh, I got a headache. It slows you down. Oh, my hand hurt. It's swollen, or you sprain an ankle. That slows you down. You start feeling the pain. You see? But if everything is fine on all cylinders, you wake up, you feel good. You give that morning stretch, you're like, damn, I feel good today. Like, you feel nice. You feel right. It's the same thing with the body. It's a well-oiled machine. You see what I'm saying? But going back to this point, the Apostle Paul is saying that these athletes, right, they engage in discipline, immense amounts of discipline. And that is what is required for us to finish our goal, to reach that point where Yahushua gives us that crown, is to be what? Disciplined. Lack of discipline, you're not going to get to that point. You're never going to attain your goals. Trust me. We've done it. And we continue to do it. Discipline will get you, man, like anything you want. If you're disciplined enough and you're committed to it, you're going to get it, no matter how long it takes. All right? So let's finish this. It says here, continuing verse 25, 1 Corinthians 9 and verse 25, it says, now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible, right? So yeah, look at how much dedication these people have to their craft. And with that, eventually they're all going to die, right? But what about us? We're doing something greater, okay, for an incorruptible crown. Like, whoa, what's your problem? Basically, as the apostle, what the fuck is your problem? Why are you not putting in your all for that incorruptible? If you're looking at what these people are doing, and these people are highly worshipped in this world, they're celebrated in this world, they're called greatest of all time. What about us? Our incorruptible crown is going to be a symbol of being part of the greatest people of all time, right? Not only are you an Israelite, but you end up being an Israelite man of the Lord. Like, think about how special that is, right? That's like the crown, that diadem, that crown on your head is that greatest of all time type crown. Like, here you go. Like, you know what I'm saying? So we have a whole different mission outside of just, being an Israelite. You're in a whole different level when it comes to this. All right. Like, the Lord knows you. He chose you. He said, come do my work. Like, he's not going to choose any old person. Like the apostles always say, look, if the Lord was looking for musicians, he pick the best, right? If he was looking for anything, he pick the best. So if he's looking for prophets, You don't think he's going to pick the best of the of his flock to be his leaders, his foundation, his pillars, right? He's building the whole kingdom. You don't think Yahushua is going to pick out the best ingredients to build that kingdom, right? And if we are that building of that kingdom, you don't think that we have, some type of merit, right? So think about that. Like, yo, we're not even, I always say this to myself, like, yo, be careful how you move, how you speak, what you say, and so on and so forth, how you even move, because you're not doing it on your own for yourself. Like you are, like you're like almost like you're a servant to the Lord. So however you move reflects on the job that you've been hired to do, the people that you're working with, and the person that you're working for, right? So we work in the Lord's company. We got to make sure that we putting our best foot forward. So that way the Lord's business is like prompt, is like clean. Like ain't no problems with it. Like, oh shit, yo, that's the Lord's work. Oh, that's a member of the Lord's work. All right, let me, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That's the mindset. So even when you're not even with among brothers, or just how you move among people, they should see that and be like, yo, you're different. Like you go to work, for example, people should be like, yo, this guy's different. Yo, everything up here, this guy's different. It's always, it's different. No, you're not like the other guys. You're not the typical black guy. We hear that all the time. Oh, you guys are not the typical black people. Why? Because we move different. We're in this world, but not of this world. We don't got to tell them, yeah, we're men of the Lord, nah. But just how we move, how we speak, the wisdom that comes out when we speak to them, they're like, yo, what the fuck? Like, I enjoy talking to you. Like, that's a pleasant surprise to them, right?
Hey, that's the scripture says, let your light shine so that others may see it and glorify your Father which is in heaven. And it's funny, we just talk about like the work thing. You have like those Karens and people that like go viral, and then they end up getting exposed, and then their job lets them go, and their job will write the little memo, this person has been fired because their views don't represent the company X, Y, and Z. Now, mind you, they're not on the clock, right? They're just in their personal life, but yet because they are tied, or they, are an employee of that company, they still can give a bad rep to that company. So the company is able to let them go, because when you sign that contract, remember it says that they can fire you for whatever reason or without cause. So that's why a lot of people they get fired, and they're like, yo, I didn't do nothing, on the job, but hey, your views and what you said does not represent the ideologies of the company. And that's the same thing with the Lord, right? You may be visible and on the job, so to speak, when you're on camera, when you're doing videos, but guess what? You still always, you always are going viral in the spirit world. We all go viral in the spirit world because the angels is always there. So when you are acting a certain way that is not representative of the business of Yahweh Bashem Al Rashai, those angels are reporting it to the Lord. And eventually the Lord going to give you that judgment. Yeah, his ideologies, his conduct is not representing, the ideologies of this business. So we gotta let him go, and that's when that crown gets taken away from you. And it's not like a job where it's like, well, I just get another job that's like this. There's no other job like this. There's no other God that can give you this. So it's either this business or you're cooked. You're fired. Literally, you're fired. That's it.
Con, I was going to say one last thing, just to answer a question that was on the comment board from Anthony Manzano. Yes. So he asked, do you think that Christianity in general misinterprets the Old Testament, which is written in Hebrew? Yes. And to find out more, just keep watching the videos. We constantly go into that all the time. So, that's all.
God. Yeah, that's it. Brothers, you all set? God. All right. So, yep, you got fired on your day off. That's right. So, we're going to close it out with that. Lord willing, this was edifying, unto the elect, right? Hey, don't let go of that crown. Strive for it, hold fast. The words of Yahweh Shah said it best, man. And, we at the end where it's right there, it's right there. So don't let go. Don't stop. Continue to fight, right? That last 100-meter, give it all you got. So Lord willing, this was edifying unto the elect, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Ruchah Kudash. Till next time, shalom to the elect. Shalom.
Shalom.